A Chevrolet engine that sat in junkyards for decades, ignored and undervalued, is now selling for more money than some people paid for entire cars just 10 years ago. Collectors are hunting them down across the country. Restorers are paying premiums they never would have considered before, and the market for this rare power plant is moving faster than almost anyone predicted. I am Victoria, and this is Chevy News. Tonight we are talking about the Chevrolet 427 cubic inch V8, specifically the L88 variant. And if you are not already familiar with why this engine is different from every other big block Chevy ever produced, you are about to understand why the people who own one are not selling, and the people who want one are getting increasingly desperate. To understand what is happening in the market right now, you need to understand what the L88 actually was, because Chevrolet went to extraordinary lengths to make sure most people never knew it existed. When General Motors introduced the L88 in 1967, it was not advertised. It was not promoted. It was not listed prominently in any showroom brochure. In fact, Chevrolet actively discouraged ordinary buyers from ordering it by rating it at just 430 horsepower, a number that every serious automotive journalist and racing insider of the era knew was a deliberate and dramatic understatement. The engine was producing somewhere between 550 and 560 horsepower in street trim. Some estimates place it even higher under race conditions. The low official rating was a strategy because GM had a corporate policy against factory involvement in motorsports at the time, and listing a 550 horsepower engine in a street car would have made that policy very difficult to maintain with a straight face. The L88 was built for one purpose: racing. It came with an aluminum intake manifold, a high-rise carburetor setup, an aggressive solid lifter camshaft, and heads that were designed to flow air in a way that the standard production engines of the era simply could not match. It required 103-octane fuel at minimum, which meant it was essentially unusable as a daily driver for anyone who valued their engine. Chevrolet added a note to the order sheet warning buyers that the engine was not recommended for general highway use, and that it did not come with a radio heater or other comfort equipment by default. They were doing everything short of refusing to sell it to discourage casual buyers. And it worked. In 1967, only 20 L88 Corvettes were built. In 1968, that number rose to 80. In 1969, the final year of L88 production, 116 were made. When you add those numbers up across all 3 years of production, you arrive at a total of just 216 L88 equipped Corvettes ever built from the factory. 216. In a country of hundreds of millions of people with Corvette enthusiasts in every state, that number is almost impossibly small. And that scarcity is the foundation of everything happening in the market right now. For decades, the L88 was known and respected among serious Corvette collectors, but it occupied a relatively defined space in the market. Verified, documented L88 Corvettes were valuable, certainly, but the prices, while strong, were not the figures we are seeing today. What has changed is a combination of factors that have converged at exactly the same moment. The generation of buyers who grew up in the late 1960s and remember these cars when they were new is now at peak earning and wealth accumulation. Simultaneously, the broader collector car market has seen a surge in interest from younger buyers who are drawn to authentic, documented American muscle-era vehicles as alternatives to traditional investments. And perhaps most significantly, the number of fully verified, numbers-matching L88 Corvettes that can be authenticated through documentation and broadcast sheets has not grown, because it cannot grow. There are 216 of them. That is the ceiling. It will never change. Auction results over the past several years have told the story clearly. Documented L88 Corvettes in strong condition have crossed the $1 million threshold at major auctions, with particularly well-documented or historically significant examples reaching considerably higher. A 1969 L88 Corvette Coupe that had a documented racing history sold at auction for figures that would have seemed extraordinary even 5 years ago. Mecum, Barrett-Jackson, and RM Sotheby's have all seen strong L88 results in recent sales cycles, and the trend line is not pointing downward. But here is what is particularly interesting from a market perspective. And this is the part of the story that goes beyond just the headline auction numbers. The activity is not limited to complete running L88 Corvettes. The engines themselves, when they can be authenticated, are generating serious money. An original L88 block, heads and intake manifold assembly with verifiable provenance, is a significant find in today's market. Partial assemblies, even individual authenticated components, are attracting buyers who either want to restore a known L88 car that has lost its original drivetrain over the decades, or who are building collections of significant American performance components. The infrastructure around the L88 market, the authentication experts, the documentation specialists, the broadcast sheet researchers, has grown substantially to meet the demand. What makes authentication so critical and so complex is that the L88 shared its external appearance with other big block Chevy engines of the era. Without proper documentation, without the broadcast sheet that was produced when the car was built at the factory, without the correct casting numbers on the block and heads, and without a credible ownership history, a claimed L88 is simply a claim. The collector market has become sophisticated enough to treat undocumented claims with appropriate skepticism, which means that when a genuinely documented example does come to market, the premium it commands over an unverifiable car is enormous. For anyone watching tonight who believes they may have an L88 in their possession, or who has purchased a Corvette with an L88 claim attached to it, the message from the market is clear. Do the research. Hire an authentication specialist. Pull the broadcast sheet through available GM documentation resources. Because if what you have is real and verified and documented, what you are sitting on right now is not just a piece of automotive history. It is an asset that the market is actively and aggressively repricing upward in real time. The L88 was built to win races. Chevrolet made sure almost nobody could buy one. And 50+ years later, that combination of performance, rarity, and history is proving to be exactly the formula that the high-end collector market rewards most generously. I am Victoria. You are watching Chevy News. We will have more on the collector Corvette market in our next report.